Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with head coach Scott Langer, and the first playoff edition this year of Wings Weekly. And Coach, you're up 2-0 against Minot. Bismarck up 2-0 against the Minnesota Wilderness. Friday, a 3-1 win. 2 goals from Manti and 1 from Verdez. What did you, as a staff, take away from Friday's matchup?
Well, I thought our special teams were good, and obviously they were the difference maker in those games. It was good to see a guy like Manti step up and give us some added offense we definitely needed at home coming out on Friday night. But I just thought that was it was a solid hockey game. They're playing the approach that they're just going to pack it in and try to force turnovers, and it took our guys a little bit of time to adjust to that. But once they did, we had some good success.
Yeah, Manti, there was a handful of guys that seemed to have a little extra jump in their step, and I think for Manti on Friday, he was one of them, obviously with 2 goals and being able to break up, as you mentioned, where they're trying to pack it in and eliminate some of those scoring opportunities. Then we move on to Saturday. Saturday's a different game, different feel. They get up 2-0. And things honestly just felt a little off in some ways, bouncing pucks, some passes that were just slightly off, different things like that. But your guys battle through and continue to persevere and found a way to win that game 4-3. And again, specialty teams good. Ended up being giving up 1 of 8 on the weekend, or 1 of 6. I'm sorry, that was 1 of 6. But the power play 3 of 8. And kill 105. There, I knew I had it right here somewhere. I just had to find the right column. Anyway, big power play again on Saturday night. But how did you guys make adjustments, or what turned the scale in Saturday's matchup?
Well, our guys knew they didn't start well. I mean, it's a room full of guys that are learning to play in the playoffs, and obviously we didn't have a good first period, and they were a little opportune on a goal out of coverage and a face-off goal. They're up 2-0. Obviously they get a lot of energy and they got confidence. So, but it's the way our guys reacted. I mean, that's the true thing that came out of this weekend is our guys understood now they're in a playoff series. They're down 2-0 in a game, and they're at home, and they don't want to swing momentum into their building. So. We came out and we played good hockey. We played really well in the second. Obviously, the goal by Schneider from a real nice play by Nielsen gets us going into the dressing room. It was perfect timing. We knew we only needed 1 in that period, and obviously in the third period, our guys were, I think, played the best period of the weekend.
Yeah.
It was the third period. We took advantage of some penalties that they committed, and that's a sign of a good hockey team. When you need it, you get it, and we did. Hilly's power play was ready, and they did a great job. But we played. We just that game there. That helps us build. That helps us get better at a time of the year that you're always looking for ways to get better, and to come back from a 2-0 deficit and win the hockey game. That was big for us.
Yeah, it really was. And as you mentioned it, Schneider's goal, it just all of a sudden you can just start to feel, the energy in the whole building start to kind of build. That was a really big goal. And then when Matsui tied it, I was watching, him jumping against the glass and getting the crowd going, and the whole energy, again, it just amped up even more. In the third, it just felt like an entirely different game. And as you mentioned, you guys found a way to get it done, and a big win, big come from behind win there on Saturday night. So again, leading the series 2-0. I wanted to talk with you a little bit. In years past, there's always been kind of a message or a theme, I guess, for the playoffs. What is this year's, and what does it mean to the team, and to this locker room?
Well, it's something that they actually came up with. They have this pregame ritual that they go through now that I wait until I come in the locker room until it's over, and they came up with we're ready, and it was very fitting. The guys got together and decided that was going to be what our motto was going to be going through it, and they continue to do their pregame ritual, and it's part of their vocabulary. So we went with it. Excellent.
Okay. Well, about in years past, I know there's always been one, and it usually has some significance. So I wanted to touch on that. Obviously, you're back at it Thursday, so a shortened week of practice and so on, but going up to Minot. And Minot seemed to make some adjustments defensively since even last weekend. What do you expect out of the Toros coming up Thursday, and what have you got to do better against the Minotauros in their building?
Well, their backs are against the wall, so I mean they're going to be coming out throwing punches like you'd expect them to. Plus, they're going to be in front of their home environment. I expect them to be good. They made a ton of changes. You know, they've defensively they've strengthened their ship over there, and they're forcing us to go 200 feet and having to play a lot in the offensive zone in order to be successful. There's no question their goalie's been very, very good in these first two games, but you know, we get 3 chances to get 1 win, and you know, we're going to touch on some things this week that we think can help be successful against Minot, and we're going to go in there looking to win a hockey game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and we talked about this briefly on Saturday night, but you know, you've got some guys a bit banged up, keeping trainer Bailey Shawn busy. But like you said, that's playoff hockey. I mean, that's to be expected. You're going to have guys with, you know, ice packs and all that kind of stuff. But does it change up the way you prepare or the way you practice, especially in a shortened week like this week?
Well, I mean, there's still things you have to get done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously you're not lining your guys up and battle testing them every day, and you know, trying to put them through a gauntlet by any means. But
right.
you're certainly, your tempo's got to be there, your work ethic has to be there, and the result of what you're trying to work on needs to be there. So, you know, it's playoff hockey where you're shortened. You're not going to get full weeks of practice most of the time. You're going to have to figure out ways to get things done. But I think the most important part is our guys recover well. They get their bodies where they need to be, and when the puck drops on Thursday night, they're ready to play.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Coach, that's about all I've got for you. Again, a big first round against Minot, or first weekend in the first round against Minot. And again, the Wings lead that series 2-0. And like we talked about, real hard fought, come from behind win on Saturday, and a well played game on Friday. You got to like the way things are looking, at least as you said. Got 3 chances to get 1 win to advance. So thanks for coming on the show, and best of luck against Minot.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, we'll continue with the second portion of Wings Weekly with a player coming up after this.
How you move matters. Avera Orthopedics helps you move freely and live life to the fullest with innovative treatment options customized to your bone, muscle, and joint needs. Whether you suffer from aches, breaks, tears, or dislocations, turn to the orthopedic team experienced in treating every body.
All right, as we continue on with the second portion of Wings Weekly, and as promised, a player joining me. This time it's Spencer Schneider of Lakeville, Minnesota. Schneider, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet. 26 goals, 17 assists in the regular season, and a huge goal for you on Saturday night. You're a Hard Hat Award winner, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So it's almost kind of expected that you're going to be working your tail off each and every night, and that this weekend was no surprise or no difference. But that goal to break the seal, so to speak, and get you guys on the board with limited time left of the second to go into the locker room and have a little momentum, a little bit of energy, that was huge. That had to have felt a little different on the bench and stuff. Could you feel the energy change?
Yeah, I think on Saturday's game it was really hard to get the first one. Just with playoff hockey, the first goal of the game is usually the hardest, harder than it is in the regular season. So I think once we got that, we kind of just realized like we can do it, and we just kind of used that momentum, like you said, and just kind of carried it throughout the whole game.
Big goal there. As I mentioned with Coach Langer, you could just feel the momentum starting to shift, even in the crowd. And I mentioned with Matsui, when he tied it, it just seemed like everybody. Then when Kaz scored, and of course Trevor Russell, a big goal for him there too. But even it just seemed like the Sellies even were more animated than in the regular season. It was like, wow, everybody's really loving this, and the crowd, of course, got really into that too. But as you mentioned, even on the bench, you can kind of feel, or you can see kind of a tide turning a little bit. So that was a monster goal from you. So congrats on that, and congrats on 2 big wins.
Thank you.
I mentioned the Hard Hat Award at the banquet that you won. To me, I think that award is one of those that doesn't. I don't want to say it's understated, but it just says so much about someone's character and about them. What does that mean to you to be able to win that award and know that it was voted on by the guys in this locker room and the staff?
Yeah, it definitely means the world. I mean, that is a really important award, I think, because it just shows to prove that you're willing to do anything for the team. And being an assistant captain and all, you have to prove that every day. So I think them thinking that I did that every day means a lot to me, and I wear it with great honor.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like you said, and what an honor it is to again have been nominated for that from this team. Do you feel like there's something that you can kind of pass along to first-year guys too? I mean, as you mentioned, as an assistant captain, but the Hard Hat Award winner, you're leading by example and by the work you're putting in. Do you ever feel like some of the first-year guys are looking at you like, man, I got to do things the way he does things?
I mean, I hope if they are, that means a lot to me. But people definitely have different roles. It depends on the player you are and kind of how much you play and what you're really here for. So, I mean, if first-year people are similar to me, then I think it'd be great if they wanted to be like me. But if not, there's definitely different ways around it. People play different styles, so it all comes down to basically who you are and how you want to play.
That's a good point. Very good point. All right. We're going to talk about Minot and what's upcoming, of course, with the rest of the series. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit too about the brotherhood in this locker room. And Coach Langer and I have mentioned it on many occasions that you guys play for yourselves, for each other, just as much as for the W on your chest and for the fans in the stands and whomever else. But it is really one of those things where you guys kind of uplift each other and kind of have each other's back, so to speak. But you are a player who has been through more than most, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the support system in this locker room and what it means to you, from on a personal level, from a player's standpoint, or a game level, on every level. That's got to be pretty important, huh? Yeah,
it's definitely life-changing. I mean, me and my roommate, Matsui, we talk about all the time how, every guy, everybody's friends. There's no, groups or anything, and there's no, people who don't like this one guy or that one guy. And what we noticed was, when we brought in new people, Arquette, Ferguson, Goldowski, they would just fit right in, and, there would be, no, hard feelings or, no button heads. They would just gel in really easily. And, going through stuff away from the rink, having a support system, having 20 brothers who all reached out to me, it means the world to me, and it shows that it's more than just a hockey team.
Yeah, it really does. And it's a family mentality that Coach Langer talks about often, on the walls of this building even. But it always strikes me how true it actually is. It's not just something that's lip service. It's not just said. It's actually a thing. So, but I know, again, after going through everything that you've been through, I kept thinking to myself how to have that support system and have those guys saying, hey, we're here for you. That's got to mean a lot. So.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Well, moving on to Minot, as Coach Langer and I just talked about, they made some adjustments and changes defensively specifically. Did you guys, do you feel a difference when you went out to play them, say last weekend, there was some changes, some differences and stuff. So when you step on the ice and go, okay, well, this is not what we saw last week or whatever, do you have to kind of make a mental adjustment as well, or is that something that coaches are talking to you guys about as the game's going along, or how do you guys adjust as players?
I think more of the adjustment is within our own team.
Okay.
Just because playoff hockey, this is our first few games of playoff hockey. Most guys didn't experience playoff hockey. Because the guys who are returning, me included, we didn't get to do playoffs last year. So this is our first taste of it. So I think it took a while to get adjusted. I think the first thing I realized was the attention to detail is just so much more immense than the regular season. So I think once we figured that out, we kind of realized okay, every shift matters, all this matters. But yeah, teams will make adjustments based on stuff, but that's just part of hockey. You just got to kind of react and make adjustments for yourself.
Right. Well, you go up to Minot on Thursday. What do you feel like as a team that you've got to do to be able to move on?
Just stick to our systems, really. They've worked this whole year, so I think we just stick to that and we play hard and keep our composure. Away games, how they go. They can get out of hand mentally and physically. So I think we just stay composed and keep ourselves in line. I think we'll be okay.
Okay. Final question. Talked to the coach about guys getting banged up a little bit and stuff like that. That's bound to happen. It's just It is with the level of intensity of playoff hockey and so on. Do you, as a player, have to do anything differently to take care of yourself both physically but also mentally? Do you guys get an opportunity to kind of shut down and relax a little bit because of that level of intensity that's kind of amped up? It seems like it's kind of hard almost to stay at that level all the time, you know?
Yeah, I think a big thing is like, since we were here so long, like, you know, it's great weather now. Like, a lot of guys on the team like to golf. Kind of like get away from the rink, you know, like leave stuff. A big thing that I was taught from my dad was like, when you're at the rink and like, if you're having a bad day, leave it at the rink. Don't let it drag on the whole day.
Sure.
So I think, yeah, mentally, like getting away from the rink and just kind of relaxing. Like, we'll play cards every now and then too. Doing that. And I think physically, just like if you have bumps and bruises, you know, we got the best trainer, Bailey, to take care of us. But other than that, I mean, guys are stretching, rolling out, and I think we do a really good job of it this year.
Excellent. Yeah, the mental part of that was one of the things I was really kind of thinking about, the importance too, because like you said, you got to leave it behind. Otherwise, you know, it starts to get heavy. All right. Well, I think that's about all I've got for you. I wish you best of luck against Minot coming up on Thursday, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Shay.
All right, Spencer Schneider. And remember, 2021 NAHL Robertson Cup playoffs, Thursday, May 27th, round 1, game 3 at Minot, 7:05 puck drop. Friday, if necessary, May 28th. Again, that would be at 7:05 in Minot. Then, if necessary, Game 5 would be back at the Odie at 7:15 against Minot, of course, on May 30th. If the Wings were to advance, Round 2 information will be announced on social media and AberdeenWings.com. Corporate night sponsorships are still available for home games throughout the playoffs. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Once again, Spencer Schneider, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks, that'll do it for this week's Wings Weekly.